Hi there and welcome to another tutorial by ECTA. Today we're going to have a look at three very basic buttonholes or corsages that you can make for a wedding for a friend or maybe your own wedding. The three we're going to look at is all based on flowers. Our next tutorial will look at some creative and inspirational buttonholes where we can maybe use some off-cut fabric, some buttons, feathers, things like that. But for today we're going to stick to a little bit more of our traditional kind of buttonholes. Now just an interesting point, the difference between a buttonhole and a corsage is just that traditionally a corsage is the flower that the ladies will wear, whereas a buttonhole is the one that the men will wear. But technically at the end of the day, depending if you're going to make one that's going to go onto the chest, both are done in exactly the same way. So the three themes we're going to look at today is a little bit of almost a garden country theme one, where I've bought a few flowers, but some of the flowers I've also gone and picked out of the garden. Our other one would be a little bit more of a modern one, a little bit clean cut, just a flower, some greenery. And then of course we're going to look at the very traditional old-fashioned one. And that will give you a very nice starting point if you want to make your own buttonholes. These are so simple to make and anyone at the end of the day can make them. So let's start off first of all with the traditional one. So what I've got is for the traditional one, and again you can change these things depending on what theme you want or the look you want. I've gone for a very nice two-tone pink rose. I got my traditional fern, and then I got this very fine white flower. You can also use baby's breath or wax, but it's quite traditionally you usually have your fine little white flower with your fern in your buttonhole. Okay, so what we want to do is first of all we want to cut our rose. I would say 3 to 4 fingers. I usually do 4 fingers about until I've finished it, and then after I've made the whole thing together I then cut it straight afterwards again. So rather maybe do 4 fingers than 3 and then it's too short. So it's literally just playing around and positioning things and having a look at what will work. So you can decide, do you want lots of the fern to stick out? Do you want a little bit of it sticking out? So you hold it, and before you cut it, hold it all together so you have a very good idea of what you are planning on doing. So that's my general idea I want to create. So I'll start off with cutting my fern. And then of course I don't want the leaves to be straight to the bottom. So now I've got my bases for my buttonhole. And then I want to add some of my small little white flowers. And this you can now position as you would like it. And it's literally playing around, but it's something that's so simple to do. You can ask anyone at the wedding party to help you put these together, and you can save quite a bit of money on making these yourself. Okay, I don't like this one, so I'll change it. You can do a little bit of a pattern if you want. Okay, so I would say that's my general idea. And then what we have over here is our florist tape. and it's a green tape. You can buy it in any flower shop, and we use this to tie everything together now before we do the ribbons. And the nice thing about it is it's quite stretchy, so it holds everything very nicely in place. And the biggest trick is to make sure things don't shift while you're putting the tape around. This is almost the most critical time when you're making a buttonhole. Any other time you can't really make a mistake. It's mostly when you're tying it together. You can see I do it very nicely and tightly. So I stretch it out. You're welcome to give it a nice stretch. The more you stretch it, the nicer it sticks. And I'll just cut that over there. Okay. And then I've got these beautiful little pins, pearl pins, that I'm just going to put in my center of my rose, just to add some of that classic glamour to it. And then you can do your ribbon, because at the end of the day this doesn't look as nice just as it is. So again, you can now decide whether you just like to wrap it or maybe you want to bring in a little bit of a bow. So I'm going to bring in a little bit of a bow. So I'm just going to tie my ribbon around here. Just remember that your buttonholes don't have their own water supply, so you have to make these close to the time, or if you want to make it the previous night, maybe the previous day, then keep your stems all much longer and you do your ribbon just at the top part, but you keep the rest of the stems sticking out, so you can have them all standing in a container without the water actually touching the ribbon. And once you are at the venue, just remember to take with a pair of nice sharp scissors, and you can just cut your stems short like we'll do just now. Okay, so I've taken the ribbon downwards and up again. Okay. And I'm just going to make a small little bow. And then these parts we just cut off straight. And there we have our small little traditional buttonhole. Now, interesting point again, when you have your buttonhole showing upwards, that's how men wear it, that's a buttonhole. And when you put it upside down, that is named a corsage, and that's what women then wear. And then you can just use your corsage pins as well. They're a little bit longer than this, and just put one per buttonhole, and that is what you use to pin your buttonhole to your clothing. And that's how easy it is to make a very traditional one. Now we can have a look at our modern one and our country one.